Welcome back, ladies and gents, in Zoom Racing League Round 6. It is the second portion of our Division 1 season over here right after the holiday break. I hope everybody had a happy holidays and a happy New Year's as well to everybody. It is the first race here in 2024. And as you can see, we are here in Monaco, the most technical, tightest circuit on the F1 calendar that we have. It is going to be an exciting race. Full qualifying tonight, followed by our usual 50% race. We got a bunch of new places, new things going on tonight. It's John Ranger here as your broadcaster with Sanjay Spanini. Spanini, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. This is one of my favorite races on the calendar, so I'm excited to see what our best drivers can do today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an exciting one for sure. There's already a portion of Q1 done. We're gonna do something. We're gonna talk about standings in a little bit, but we already have somebody, a special guest that we have already with us tonight. Marcel Paps, team principal. He's actually already on the track. He's gonna be qualifying in just a second, so we're gonna bring him in a couple seconds here. Actually, I'm gonna go find him, and we'll be able to have a discussion. He's team principal here in Ferrari, so we'll be able to ask him a couple questions, see how his season is going on, and what
Well,
are
it seems he's
his.
not on track right now.
Has he just gone on track?
Yeah.
He sure has. Okay, so we'll wait for him to go back into the pits. I think he wants to get his time in. So we will wait for them. So then let's reverse it, Sanjay. Let's talk about the standings. I don't have the visual up as of now, but we're halfway through our Division 1 season, and it is rather exciting to see Ryan Newton leading the way for Mercedes.
Yeah, Ryan had a strong Portugal race right before we went off for the break. I'm Mercedes in general got a 1-2 there. Pretty strong for their constructors championship also. They're running away with it with almost a 100-point lead. But yeah, Ryan leads the championship by 29 points to Era's last season here, so he wants to make sure that he can put up a good fight for that championship. And this is one of his better tracks too. This is going to be a tough track for Ryan because he's a pad player. Same with Marcel. As both of them are pad players, not the greatest track for that. So we're gonna see a lot of these wheel drivers who are technically gifted, I guess you could say. This has always been the most technical track. You got to make sure you stay off the walls, and quality matters a lot. So there's gonna be a certain skill set that drivers need to be good at here to do well. But yeah, Ryan's leading championship from Era. And then Mark, second driver in Mercedes, in third place. Pichet, who's in fourth place and has had a good season, is not here today. So that's going to hurt his championship fight, and he's going to go down. But then we have Camborne, Hudson Poole, who's our previous championship winner, having a pretty rough season. We'll see what he can do here. He's more of a race pace guy, but we know this track is a quality track, so we'll see what he can do. And then we have Marcel. I see he'll probably hop in the booth so we can talk to him about him more. And then, yeah, Magnussen, Anand Trivedi, Kyle, Quinton. Quinton's back now after 3 races. But I don't know if he's, as you can see, he's actually top of the table right now. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be an exciting race.
Yeah, and Quentin made his race debut, if I remember correctly, here in Monaco, where he was having an absolute crazy good race. Sadly ended by an incident, but he showed off his race pace, and he calls Monaco his backyard. He knows this track very well, and he's very quick, and already banker lap of a 109.3 here, 2/10 higher, quicker than Marc-Olivier Bastien in P2 here in the Mercedes. So yeah, the top 3 that is here are guys that are able to be very, very quick. Freddie Rozelle, look at that, a 110.1 with medium tires. So there's a couple drivers out there on the medium tires. Marcel Paps just did a 109.7 with his medium tires as well. So a lot of drivers going on the mediums. They're very confident about their pace. They're going to use a medium set and probably call it quits until Q2 there. The top 10 is going to have to battle really hard for the bottom. There's actually 3 drivers that will be eliminated. We're not a full grid tonight, hey, Sanjay? So far, positions 16, 17, and 18 would be eliminated from the grid until Q2, and then positions 11 to 15 would be eliminated at the end of Q2. And so far, I'd say there's a bit of a gap between
Well,
P1 and
Becky,
P7.
I was going
Oh,
to say Becky actually just put on a good time. He moves
absolutely.
out of that last place there,
Yeah.
boosts himself from the 7th or 5th place. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple drivers out there, that have time to put another lap. I think Jack Fletcher's on his second out lap already. 111. Quinton retires from the session. There's 5 minutes to go. So either drivers are going out for their out laps right away to get the track space, or they're all going to come out. It's in about 2-3 minutes time towards the end of Q1 once that space is the place is ready there. So we'll see how drivers go about it. We do have a reserve driver in the Aston Martin. We'll see him in P14 currently, Signal, which is Aero, our French driver here in ZRL, reserving in the Aston Martin. Besides that, I think that is the only reserve we have tonight, other than our 2 absentees.
Right. And another big thing is this is going to be a wet start to the race, which has its own issues here at Monaco. Already
Yeah.
pretty hard to overtake. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do in the rain around here. I think it's safe to say we're going to see some safety cars, especially now that the safety cars have been somewhat fixed for Monaco. They actually appear this time. Rather in the previous games, they don't like to come out. But so I think we'll see some chaos maybe during the race.
Yeah, Monaco and the dries can already has the potential of being chaotic. It's not much about the overtakes, right? We're very well aware that Monaco, it's been one of those circuits that's been there since day one or since before the F1 World Championship, right, in 1929. Cars were a lot slimmer back then. Now today they're much larger, much wider, so it's very difficult to do overtaking here, and that means drivers are. It's all about qualifying. Now you put that situation in the wet weather, then yeah, as you say, safety cars could become numerous during this race. So we'll see how things pan out. What I suggest, Sanjay, we've got Marcel Paps who retired, so he's done with his time. He's confident about his time, so I suggest we bring him in here for the interview and
Mhm.
have a chat with him. Let me move him over. I think he was in the. Oh, he was. He was in the waiting room, and he's now gone. All right, so let me poke him and have him. Let me poke him. He should be around with us in just a second. We'll definitely have a couple minutes. Magnussen Cuba's also retired from the session. Currently sitting P6, 1097. So that's 3 drivers with a 1097 who's decided to retire, or 1097 and quicker, I would say, to have decided to retire. What do you think would be the cutoff time here, Sanjay?
Yeah, that's what that's what's gonna be the interesting point. I want to say it's gonna be like a 10.5 if these drivers can improve down here. I feel like Cal can put out a good lap. I know he's pretty strong at Monaco in the previous games. Fletcher, I'm not too sure about Fletcher. I think he can maybe, but I feel like the cutout is around halfway, like midway through the tens. Nathan Dowager should also be someone with a pretty strong lap, or is strong around here. So we'll see. As Becky just retires too, looks like pretty much everyone thinks they're safe right now in the top 6, which I think is fine. I think if you're in the 9s, I want to say you're safe, but we'll find out if there's any track evolution that makes it some big gap form.
Yeah, Ryan Newton just crossed the line and improved on his time, and I think Nathan Doan has just started his fast lap, so let's go on board with him. Sanjay, walk us through this lap.
Yeah, so up the hill, um, shifting through all the gears. This is it's a very fast part of the track. Goes around. I forgot the corners of Casino Square. There it is. Through the tight section of the track here, the hairpin. I think we're gonna start seeing some drifting in Q3 there. There's been the meta for time trial to get a lot of time, so maybe we'll see some drifters come out in the hairpin as he heads towards the tunnel. Probably the fastest part of the track right here, flat out, all the way down to the Novo chicane. Get really close to the wall. Oh, as he taps the barrier, as I was just saying that, that's gonna ruin his lap, and I think that's gonna knock him out.
If he took some damage there, I don't know if we can see some visual damage. I don't see any. Has he turned off his battery? He
I
looks
think
like
he's
he's
gonna
turned
go
off
for
his
another
battery.
one.
Yeah, he usually, even if you put the minimum tire, the minimum fuel, you should be able to go for another run if you do mess up a lap. So I think that's what he's gonna try to do. He's probably gonna try to harvest as much as he can.
Yep, he's
Yep.
gonna go for another one.
Yeah, he is launching on another one. There's somebody behind him just coming along. I think that is Nick Hamrick, who is going to be crossing the line in just a second. Oh,
He's
he's
out of
low on
fuel.
fuel. That's a 112.1.
Oh,
That is not quick enough. So he's P13. He's going to be just on a cup, so getting eliminated there. If everybody else improves, he's going to park it after turn 1 and retire. I'm seeing an Alpha Tari that just crossed the line. Freddie Rizal
yeah.
finds a 109.3, so he's going to get P1 in this Q1 session. And there's Cal Blevins as well, very low on fuel and low on battery. He's giving it all. He's going to give it a push. He's safe already with a P10 and improves to P4. So there's a lot of track evolution here. There's a lot of opportunity for improvement. Arrow's going to be the next driver across. And just barely makes it for now. It is P14. Maxime Beaulieu is P15. And now 16 because Anand
Oh
Trivedi
no.
has booted Maxime Beaulieu out of Q1. There's only 2 more drivers to go. Is Jack
Oh,
Fletcher?
Fletcher's
He's
done.
done. And Nathan Doan, will he be able to improve? He looks like he's doing a little quicker time. And that is
Oh, and he just does.
P11. So Arrow, Maxime Beaulieu, and Jack Fletcher are the 3 drivers that are being eliminated out of Q1. Nathan Doan was able to improve at that very last moment, getting a P11 with a 110.2. That's an
Yeah, that was
interesting Q1.
really ramped up at the end there. A lot of like, especially for Maxime. Maxime was unfortunate and went down to P17 there. Only 2/10 off. Oh, actually, I want to say like 2/10 off what the cutoff would have been. But yeah, Fletcher looks like he invalidated his lap, so unlucky for him not being able to set a time that was probably good enough. It looks like Cal Blevins might have a grid penalty.
Yeah, he did have a grid penalty. As soon as we got on the stream, at that same moment, he got a 5-position grid penalty for supposedly blocking or an illegal block, and Monaco's good for that when you're trying to be slow and let another driver by. If the driver slows down and just kind of waits behind you, well, you get the legal blocking for some reason. So kind of an awkward situation. Monaco is known for that. It's been happening even last game too. And F122, it's happened. Actually, it's happened to me actually. So yeah, we'll see how Cal, has to deal with that kind of situation there.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how the drivers that have kept on their medium tires are going to improve their time. We saw Pap stay on the medium tires, Hudson Poole as well.
Yeah, see, now we're gonna see everyone use softs, but this is where strategy plays a big part, right? Especially now that there's rain in the mix. This is like one of the tracks where undercuts are really powerful.
Yep.
But at the same time, if you get unlucky with traffic, you can get overcut. So I'm interested to see what the drivers are gonna plan for this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be something to keep an eye on because the undercut is, as you mentioned, is extremely powerful here. But you get unlucky, you get stuck in traffic with somebody who's had their tires worn out a lot, and you get slowed down. Well, you end up losing out a lot in pace. That being said, Sanjay, let's bring in Marcel Paps. He is ready for our interview. He's probably taking care of Ferrari business here. Let's bring him in now in the broadcast booth. Marcel Paps, otherwise known as Eruption, a very rapid driver, great qualifier. He is with us here in the booth. Welcome aboard, Marcel. First of all,
hello.
You have
Hello.
yourself doing great times on medium tires, but you also have a driver who's been Well, dead last actually in this qualifying. So how's your evening going on so far?
Yeah, I mean it's basically 2 a.m. for me in the morning, so yeah. it's going
Oh
it's
yeah.
going it's going a little bit sleepy, but it's fine, I guess. But yeah, to the question with Jack. Yeah, with Jack, I had I had the problem with Jack on every race, to be honest. Like he told me that he can't find any pace on this game, and I hope we can work on that on the last few races that we have in the season. And yeah, especially here in Monaco, it's basically just surviving, to be honest.
Yeah, we saw that the the race is going to be a wet start. Kind of throws all those strategies you might have had prepared out the window, that you
Yeah,
might have been practicing. So, what's the plan? Try to just survive out there if you get a good quality.
yeah, exactly. If yeah, basically Monaco is uh 75% qualifying, the rest is just surviving in the race and keeping that pace and having a good strategy, choosing the right pit window that you don't uh, come out in traffic and so on. And yeah, that's basically it.
Marcel, last question, real quick. I don't want to hold you up too long before we go back into qualifying. What are your expectations for Ferrari overall across the divisions for the second part of the season?
Like for the second part, I would hope to challenge for P2. Like Mercedes is too strong, to be honest. They are just too far
Yeah.
away for this season, maybe next season. But we surely tag for P2 in the standings and hope for and hope to attack Mercedes in the next season.
Absolutely, Marcel. Thank you for the input here. I'm going to let you go back into qualifying here, as
Yeah,
we had the chance to talk to you. If anything happens during the race or whatever, we might poke you again for a little bit of a talk. But so far, good luck for your race.
yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we've got a couple banker labs going on already. We're very closely approaching the. Yeah, we're approaching the 108s soon enough. We got Brandon Bechtel at 109.2 so far with the quickest lap. I believe those refresher tires. If we look at Quentin K, just go check. I believe that was some used tires he used up, but he's on his end lap. I could see the tires. Oh, actually, 1 lap old. So those were fresher soft tires. Used up a little bit more than Becky Bias. We're looking on the overlay here with the tire information. So really close time between both of them. Both Mercedes using the medium tires again here in Q2. That is how confident they are in their pace. They're in the late 109s. Well, 109.9 for Marc Olivier and Ryan with a 110, 110.2. Sorry. A lot of drivers are just waiting in the pits. Obviously, Marcel Paz was with us talking, so he delayed his first lap. Nathan Doan's doing the same, and Camborne has just gotten out of the lap, as well as I believe that is Freddie Rizal on his out lap. So drivers are now starting to go out on track.
Yeah, I think this time the cutoff will be you have to make sure you're strictly in the nines. I don't think any tens will make it out of Q2. Um, and that's good that the Mercedes is getting close to that nines on the medium tire. So yeah, we'll see what their pace is looking like on the soft. But as I said, they're pad drivers, so they're kind of in a disadvantage here. Um, but it's good that they're being competitive as of right now. But yeah, Becky B puts in a pretty really strong time of a 9.2.
Yeah, we're gonna see an Antrovetti. He's just gonna start his lap. Very respectable driver, quick driver here in the Alfa Romeo. So we'll see how he can handle his pace now. He's coming up Beau Rivage, up the hill and into Massenet in turns 3. Has to keep it really tight corner here as he goes. We're gonna go on board with him towards the hairpin at Grand Hotel. Not seeing any kind of drifting so far, but he's very aggressive towards the outside there as well, and into Portier and down into the tunnel. And here is where it's a make or break situation. Down into Nouvelle Chicane. Cuts it nicely. There's a bit of traffic in front of them, and I think those are drivers on outlap, so hopefully they stay out of the way. You're seeing the blinking lights of a Ferrari. There you go. It's difficult to stay out of the way in this kind of situation. And an Andretti. Oh, and that was
that might have been faster.
That might have been
normally.
Well, we're gonna see what kind of time that was. I thought there was maybe contact on the wall there a little bit, but that's gonna be a 1:10.6, and that's. He puts himself in 9th position, and there's multiple drivers out there that have not put a time yet, so not sure that's going to be fast enough for the cutoff. Just a reminder, positions 11 down to 15 are going to be eliminated at the end of Q2. And there's, I believe, Freddie Rizal. Yeah, Freddie Rizal is actually starting his outlap. Who else is doing a lap? Cam warns about.
One right now.
Pardon me?
Eruption drifted. I think I saw him drift.
Yeah, so the thing about drifting, and we're going to see if we could catch it later on as well, but...
He abandoned it.
He did abandon. Okay, so Cam Bourne puts it slots into 5th position so far in Q2. Next driver across, we're going to have both Mercedes crossing the line. Ryan Newton... Oh no, he's actually on his in lap. And Marco Bastet, well, he's on his out lap. Activates his hot lap mode, ERS, and the DRS, and he's going to begin his hot lap as well. Is Nathan Doan? He's beginning his lap as well. As you mentioned, Eruption, Marcel Pabst looks like he's going to be waiting. If he abandoned, he recharged his battery already, so he's going to go out for another run. Oh, there's an... Who is that in the back? Is that actually Freddie Rizal already around the lap? We'll see where he slots himself. Oh, Freddie Rizal with a P10 only. Rather surprising. Yeah. I'm wondering if he used worn tires. Yeah, I think he did.
I think he must have.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, his tires already just about 11-12% used up, so he did 2 out laps on those tires.
Oh, as Quinton sets a 9 flat.
There you go. That's a 1:09.035. That's a great time for him. While Brendan Bechtel, who's currently in P2 here in the second qualifying session, he's starting his fast lap. We're going to have a Mercedes across the line, and it is Marc-Olivier Bastien in P4, 109.3. Next across the line, we had Nathan Doan. He's got a 109.9 in P7. A little bit quicker than Hudson Poole so far. So we're starting to find drivers going across the line here. Eric Cavallo has not gone out in a while. And I am looking for... That is Duncan McCamick, who started a lap. And Marcel Pabst, who's completed his lap, his second lap out there after abandoning the first one, Sanjay. And that's a 109.2 in P2.
Yeah. This is also Marcel's, I'm pretty sure, is his favorite track also. Didn't really get to ask him, but I know he's been grinding the track literally the second after Portugal. So,
yeah.
Yeah, this is, I think he really wants a good result here, but yeah, I'm excited to see Quinton is all in form here too, because he's been away for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's had a ton of time to practice for this, but it's good to see that he's sitting up there in first place.
Yeah, Quinton's motivated. Oh, Becky B. I didn't notice that. It's a 109 flat as well. Just a little under 200ths of a second under Quinton K. Brandon Bechtel seems to be flying out here in Monaco so far. He's putting out great laps.
Yeah, he's been a little under the radar, I think, this season. But he's always been a good driver in other games too. I remember seeing him driving the 21, the 22 games. So he's always been strong. So it's good to see this. It's quite the battle right now for a pole position that we might get in Q3, I guess, because this one doesn't count. But
well, I would assume it's going to be an interesting pole position battle. And interestingly enough, Marcel Pabst is going on for
Yeah,
his third lap of qualifying. Yeah, he's
he
going
must
at
have
it
put in a
again.
lot of fuel.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I think he put extra fuel and he's ready to go at it again. He's definitely zooming at it, and Quentin K and Becky B have.
Oh, there it
There's the
is.
drift. With a little bit of lag, though, he's very choppy on my side. I don't know if that's what you're seeing as well.
Yeah, a bit for me too.
So a bit of issues with the host connection there, but apparently that is the way to go across. Oh my goodness, yeah, it is choppy. I don't know if other drivers are seeing it as that, but that's going to be an issue during the race for sure.
No, as he's up 2 tenths,
He's
almost
up too
3.
tense. Yeah. Well, he might be in the 108s if he continues like that. If he's got a Red Bull in the way though.
Maybe he gets a nice little toe out here.
He sure does, and the toe is very effective here. And he's
Oh
going to be a
wow!
108.9, and there it is. It's not pole officially because we're still in Q2, but Marcel Paps on 3-lap-old soft tires decides to pull the drift on the hairpin at Grand Hotel and shaves off a significant amount of time and finds the quickest lap time here so far in Q2. Obviously, Quentin and Brendan have retired already. They're not going to be doing any more laps for now. Honestly, if you're looking at these time, Sanjay, I think if you're anywhere, but I think honestly starting at Camborne, and I think that the McLaren boys know about it, they definitely have to go out for another lap because 109.4, there's 3 tenths difference between Camborne and P8 and Ryan Newton and P7. But man, 110, 110.2, starting at P11, I think these boys are going to be able to improve their time quite a lot, significantly. So you got to go for the safe way. You don't want to miss out on Q3 here in Monaco.
I was literally about to say Fred also hasn't put in a lap good enough yet that he did in Q1. There he is, moves up to P5, pushing.
Yeah.
Those McLaren boys down again. Yeah, right now Nathan is in the danger zone. Same with Hudson Poole. Hudson Poole's also in that bottom 5 with Cal. Both Red Bulls haven't been able to put their greatest laps, I'd say, but we'll see if that can improve. Track evolution is going to be a big deal here, especially we'll see it a lot in Q3. I always feel like in Q3 the track just ramps up really quickly. But we'll see if the track has evolved here. So maybe we get some pretty insane times.
Absolutely. And Marcel Paps, we're going to keep an eye on his times here. He went a little bit wide in turns 1 and had a bit of a wall rub on turns 4 there at Casino Corner. He's going down to tunnel. He's going to want to improve immediately because we're nearing the end of Q2. He's currently sitting in P12. He would be eliminated if he invalidates or does not improve his lap time. He's heading towards the end of Sector 2. We'll see if he's up on his time. And he's up by 3/10. Will that be enough to secure him safe way into Q3? We're about to find out. He goes around Raskas and turn 19. Down the street he goes. And secures. It's a great improvement for him. It's 4/10 improvement. But that's P9. So if anybody behind him improves, he could be in a bit of a risky place. Camborne is P10. He's about to. You think he's improving his time, but just barely. Not enough to really improve on his position. Nathan Doan's in danger. Cal Blevins in the pits, and he's done. Hamrick is done. Duncan McCamick is pushing on a lap, and I think Nantravetti as well.
Yeah, Duncan might have just gotten a little bit of traffic with Hudson there, actually. Yep, he's giving up the lap.
Oh, how unfortunate for Duncan. That will be elimination out of Q2 for him. So the last hopes are resting on Anand Travetti's shoulders for the Alfa Romeo driver. Does not notice if he's improved on his time. Goes around the last corner.
I don't think it's enough. He's up 3/10, but he needs almost a second.
Oh yeah, he definitely needs almost a second, and that's not going to be enough. That's going to be P11. He needed another 2/10 to knock Hudson Poole out of Q2. It's not going to happen. Hudson Poole goes to Q3, and Duncan McCamick, as you mentioned, has abandoned his lap, and that was a bit of a weird visual glitch I had here on my screen, but Into the pits he goes, and that is it for Q2 with Marcel Pabst. Used tires, a bit of a drift and hairpin at Grand Hotel. The quickest time with the only driver so far being at a 108.9. We're going to expect a lot more of those quick times under the 109s here in Q3.
Yeah, I mean, if he got that time on used tires, I'm interested to see what he can put out on fresh set and minimum fuel. Uh, that drift looked good too. It did look fast. We've definitely been practicing that in time trials, but yeah, I'm interested to see if other drivers are doing the same thing. I know for a fact Eruption was one that knows how to do it. Um, let's see if other drivers are going to try to use that same tactic to get a time. You can't do it in the race, of course.
Yeah.
There's already an overheating problem. Drivers are going to have to combat. Pretty much every tire overheats here, so yeah, managing tires is a big thing. And drifting the hairpin will definitely not make that any better.
Yeah, absolutely right. And while we're talking about the race, we're not talking about strategy here because, as we know, the race is going to start under rain. So we're going to have a nice rain cloud just between Q3 and the race start. However, the rain shouldn't be lasting too long from what I'm seeing here. So it begins under, I would assume, intermediate conditions, and it's going to go into dry. Is it safe to assume, Sanjay, that we're going from intermediates onto the hard tires and trying to make them last the entirety of the race as soon as it gets dry enough?
Yeah, I want to say that's probably going to happen, but there might be drivers that are thinking, let's go for the aggressive strategy, maybe get onto the mediums, and then maybe pit to the softs or something like that. But like you lose so much time pitting, and you have to fight through traffic if you do pit too many times. But at the same time, you'll be lapping a lot faster. A good example is when we had a community event, 100% at Monaco.
Yeah.
It was like originally people were trying to do maybe a medium hard, but it's crazy how fast the new tires are when you do pit. Like, yeah, you do fall back 30 seconds, but you can catch that 30 seconds so quickly. So it really depends on how the track is going and how much traffic is affecting it. If drivers don't get out of the way for a faster car, which they don't have to unless it's blue flags, you just kind of have to get lucky in that regard. But the safe option, I think, is just go long. I think the hard tires are pretty good here. It's not actually not a ton of wear around this track. It's just the overheating. So I think people are just going to do an inter to hard strategy depending on when they need to get off the inters.
I Let's expect that strategy, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some drivers attempt the alternative strategy.
Yeah.
Obviously, with one question that's going to be important during the race, and that the drivers and their engineers, if they have one, are going to be wondering is, will the hard tires last the entirety of that second stint? Because going from inters into hards, we don't know exactly how long the rain is going to last. If the track dries up within, I'd say 5, 7, 8 laps, and suddenly you find yourself doing just about 45% of that race, or the rest of the race on hards, then you find yourself starting to wonder if the tire is going to explode or not. And if there's a track you don't want to, with the overheating issues, and overheating obviously is going to have wear as excess wear as a consequence. We got to be careful with that, because then, if you want to have a tire explode here in Monaco, it's game over. It's definitely game over. So,
and this is assuming there's no safety cars.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like, there's so many combinations and permutations these drivers might have been practicing. I really haven't been, so I'm just gonna hope I'll get lucky tomorrow and the race is normal. But I'm pretty sure a lot of these drivers have been practicing for that. And hopefully know relatively what they want to do. I want to say a hard tire can go a long time though. Like there's a big drop off. I want to say around 25%. Once a tire hits 25% wear on this track, your lap times just start like plummeting.
Absolutely.
But the tire is still alive. Like you can still take the tire. So then it's like risk versus reward. Is it better to just stay on this track? Or do you think you can make up that pit stop and through traffic, through the risks of trying to overtake here? So that's all to the driver's judgment. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah. And one of the main things you want to be able to do here in Monaco, which is not easy, is not only overtake, but you want to make sure it's a clean overtake. You want to avoid those incidents where you get penalized for an overtake, or even worse, you get damaged, because you cannot afford any kind of damage on that front wing here and have
Yeah.
that reduction of front downforce. You absolutely need it to get around this track in race conditions. So it's going to be interesting to look at. Quentin K is about to complete his banker of a lap, and it's a
Wow.
108.5, and so fresh tires for him. Brandon Bechtel right behind at a 108.6. He's not too far behind. That is an absolutely monster lap. Eric Cavallo 109.1. He's been cruising by into Q3, not setting crazy fast times so far. Marcel Paps, well, it's a 109.2. I don't think he succeeded in his drift, and it's looking very choppy for me on the stream on my end, so I don't know how the other drivers are going to feel about that. We're about to have the Mercedes drivers coming in just now. It is Marco Bastien, I believe, who's the first driver across, and he gets P3 at a 109.1. Ryan Newton is next. Actually, you know what? Ryan Newton just started his lap, actually, so he went for a double. I think he invalidated his lap, actually. His battery is a lot more used than it should be at this stage of the race or of his lap. So I know we have Camborne, Freddie Rizal, and Magnussen Cube, all three on their out laps so far. So we'll keep track on drivers. Now, Ryan Newton's on his in lap. He's not using his battery whatsoever. So he's going to have to go in. Invalidated his lap. And Hudson Poole putting it at 109.2. So he's the slowest of the drivers who have put a lap time so far. Only 2 drivers in the 108s, Quentin K and Brendan Bechtel, and they are significantly quicker than the other drivers. Let me just keep an eye.
Yeah, I don't know if the track just got like that much better, or maybe they weren't using their like fresh tires, but that's a huge improvement from Q2. Out of nowhere, like halfway into the 8s, we might even see low 8s by the end of this.
That is interesting. There's two things I want to tell you, Sanjay. I'm looking here with the overlay on the tire wear, and Quentin K had used tires on his lap compared to Brendan Bechtel, and
Oh,
Michael
wow.
Bassin had fresh tires compared to Eric Cavallo, who was on worn tires. So some drivers are using their worn tires or lap old tires probably just to set up a lap time. Sometimes it's very mental. It's very psychological. I tend to do that as well. I'll go quickly out on track with worn tires so I could get a lap and make sure that my fresh tires, I could kind of know where I could gauge myself in regards to my older laps. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and already there's drivers out there. I think they're gonna go for 3 laps. Eric Cavallo's already on his out lap, so he's gonna have the time to put a second lap, and he might have saved his tires during the qualifying to go for a third one as well.
Yeah, drivers could also be trying to save soft sets, because soft tire is also not a terrible tire here. It's just that, again, once that 25% wear comes in, it drops off hard. But if you really want to make an undercut on someone and try to get ahead or catch up to someone, if you want to pit onto a faster tire, the soft tires are really strong for that. So maybe they just want to have a spare soft tires just in case anything happens, a late safety car, anything of that sort.
Yeah, Sanjay,
Oh.
Ryan Newton had enough time to do another fast lap. He recharged his battery. He was momentarily P3, but Marc-Olivier Bassin just pushed him into P4 with a 108.7. So he is the 3rd driver so far all across qualifying to go under the sub 109s. Ryan Newton was 109.014, so close to getting that 108. I would assume he's going to get it within the end of Q3 here. Mercedes, Marcel Paps spoke about it earlier during our interview. Mercedes is OP, very, very powerful team. Ryan Newton being drafted, I forget his draft rank. I think it was
10.
10. Yeah, 10. I was gonna say either 10 or 11. 10th driver pick, currently leading the championship here in Division 1 by a good margin too. However, Marco Bastien and Eric Cavallo, there's only 1 point that separates both of them, and so far the Mercedes driver here in qualifying has the edge.
Yeah, so much for disadvantage for being for the pad drivers. They seem to be working around it pretty well. But yeah, they're sitting 3 and 4. And they said it last week out. This is going to be their hardest race. Well, depending on what the random GP would be, which is next week. Um, but yeah, I mean, if they can qualify there in third and fourth, that's like solid points to just keep extending their lead on the drivers and constructors championship.
Absolutely, and I had to talk about Marco Basset versus Eric Cavallo because look at the difference in time between these
Yeah,
two drivers. Eric Cavallo just went in on his fast lap. That's a 108.769, so that is less than 200ths of a second separating him and the Mercedes driver. We're in the final instance here of Q3. We assume every driver on track currently is going to have time to get back in the pit lane, get fresh set of tires on, and go out on track. And we're going to see who's going to be the first driver to go out on track again. There's a Mercedes driver. Oh, that is Ryan Newton. So he's going to try to get the clear track right away. He might be a little early given the track times, or he's going for the double warm-up laps, as some drivers have started taking the habit of doing here. So we'll see what Ryan Newton does. I think it worked out for him in the end, going for the double warm-up. As you mentioned, in any qualifying situation, tires heat up very quickly here in Monaco, but in qualifying, maybe it's needed to go really fast on in Q3.
right. Yeah, and Eruption actually put up a really good time too, only at 100th out from Quinton, as I think he's entering the pits right now, so he's gonna come in on probably just set his fuel to minimum, put on the fresh set of tires.
Yeah.
I'm expecting, I want to say pole is gonna be like an 8-2. I think 8-2, maybe an 8-1 might come out. Especially if Quinton set that time on used tires.
Yeah, man, that is scary faster in Division 1. It always surprises me how quick the top drivers in Division 1 are, and it feels like as the more we go, the tighter the gap between the top 5 drivers becomes. Because like Ryan Newton, he's on his outlap right now. That's a driver that seasons ago, had gained himself the reputation of being overly aggressive, got into situations a lot. He's matured as a driver. Now he's part of a team of stewards. He understands the racing etiquette a lot more, and he's absolutely improved his racecraft to a point where he's leading Division 1.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely improved a lot over the years. I think he started racing here at ZRL around the same time I did. And I think I was faster than him then, but now he's way faster than I was, or I am now. So it's like, it's crazy how well he improved over the games. And yeah, now he's chasing that title, and I think he can get it at this point in the season, and in the form that he's in.
Yeah.
I think he can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious to see if he's had anything to do with it. But since he's been joining that Mercedes team this season with Marco Bastin, who's also a pad player, I'm wondering if Bastin has given him some little tricks with his own pad, and it just seems to work out for Bastin. Because I remember, I think it was last season or 2 seasons ago when I was racing in Haas with Quinton K, and he gave me some tips and tricks on the steering wheel and certain settings and force feedback setups and everything. And it suddenly I gained a couple tenths. We're going to find if Ryan Newton could gain himself a couple tenths here. He's going to be the first driver across the line. And that is going to be P3 for him. He's only 3 thousandths off of Marcel Pabst in P2. So that is a very respectable lap. Behind him, Becky B's starting his lap, as well as Eric Cavallo. I think everybody else behind are starting their lap. So as Ryan Newton is put in his lap and finished, everybody's beginning their lap, and Marcel Pabst is just going to be just in time, 10 seconds till the end, able to start his lap. Oh, is Hudson Poole going to have the time to do so? Yes, he's going to be the last one to cross the line. He was just 2 seconds out until the end of qualifying. So starting now, every driver crossing that line, finishing line, is going to be setting up their time. Cam Bourne is going to be the first one to go through. He's currently 10. He's going to be able to improve. No, well, he does, but he doesn't improve on his position. Next across the line is going to be Magnussen Cube. Will he improve on his time? He's now P7. He's done so as well. Is Quentin K going to be able to improve on his time? He looks a little bit behind, actually. So that's 108.526. So he's just barely behind. Who is next across the line? It's going to be Well, Brandon Bechtel's back in the pits, as is Ryan Newton. That was expected. Marc-Olivier Bastien next across the line. Well, he's invalidated.
Yeah, so
Who's
he's
next?
done.
It's Eric Cavallo. He's currently P6. He is P4 now, 1086. And the last driver, no, there's 2 drivers left. 3, sorry. It is now, oh, Freddie Rizal doesn't have a front wing.
Yeah, I think Fred is out, but Hudson also, is, I think, done with his lap. Yeah, he's up 10 seconds on, or
He's
up, no,
missing a
down
front
10.
wing as well.
Yeah, I think that's
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, that is it. Marcel passes into the pits. Our pole position is going to Quentin K. When he joined this race, drivers all around Division 1 knew it right away that he was going to be a very rapid driver here in the streets of Monaco, and he has proven his worth. It's a 108.5 for pole position for the Haas driver.
Yeah, I mean, solid drive. It sounded like everyone made a mistake, or a lot of people made a mistake on their final run there. Like Fred lost his wing, Hudson lost his wing, Marcel invalidated, I think, or messed up because he went into the pits. Mark invalidated his lap. It looks like everyone was just pushing a little too much there.
Yeah.
And Quinton's original time was the one that ended up being pole position.
Yeah, even Quentin did improve on his time, but look at the top 3. Sanjay,
Yeah.
it is 9 thousandths of a
close.
second separating
Yeah.
P1 to P3. That is absolutely ridiculous. Eric Cavallo is really not far behind. Look at those times. That is crazy pole performance here in ZRL. The race is coming up,
9,000.
and it is going to be under wet conditions, intermediate tires to be put on. It is going to be one heck of a race.
And this is those tracks where that 9,000ths of a second that Ryan missed out on could be a race win. Because starting first place or on pole position in Monaco is that important. It's pretty much like, as long as you don't mess up, you have the race win in your hands. Everything is yours to lose.
I will contradict you on that. I'm going to say yes, but if you're in P2 and you could follow the race leader, you get to
That's true.
decide
You
if you
get
could
the
undercut.
that is true.
So
We'll see. It's
it'll
it's
be
drizzle.
yeah. This is where this race becomes very tactical. But right now it is going to be a very psychological kind of race because you have to not mess up under the rain conditions, and you have to make sure that you plan your pit strategy to not be into traffic. And you know what, Sanjay? I'm glad I'm not in the driver position right now. I'm here in the booth. I could crack myself and open a cold one right before the race starts, unlike these other drivers. And I am ready to go. I don't know. I'm rather excited to see how this race is going to pan out.
Yeah, the rain, it's not looking super duper heavy either. Looks like it could dry up pretty quickly, as you were saying before. But turn 1 will be an interesting one. People want to make as many places as they can because it's so hard to overtake here. We might see some broken wings.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I could have an updated information here. Oh, weather's not updating for now. We'll wait for the the players to officially load in here. But yeah, the initial prediction is that the rain is not going to be lasting out too long. One thing's for sure, the red lights are out, and away we go. The Monaco Grand Prix is underway. It's a good start here from Quentin K. Let's go on board with a P3 sitter, Ryan Newton. And there's a contact already with Marcel Pass, who hit the wall, maybe potentially even have damage already. I don't see if there is missing a piece of front wing, or at least visually we don't see it, but that gives a proper getaway for the Haas driver. And it's been clean so far behind.
Yeah, it looks like everyone got away well. No one is really super far behind. We're going to see a bunch of
Oh yeah, this is
too
where it
wide.
gets really. There you go, the accordion effect. There's definitely some
yeah.
damage that was taken there on most of the drivers. It's that hairpin. You think you have that momentum to go around the corner, and suddenly everybody's in front of you completely stopped. It's a traffic jam. So wouldn't be surprised to see some drivers right away. Oh, Becky B being very aggressive into Nouvelle Chicane. And made contact a little bit with Ryan Newton. Maybe he's one of the drivers who's lost. Sorry, got distracted there. Look, Marcel Pap's like teleporting all over the track for me. as he's been
Yeah.
doing in qualifying. I don't know if the drivers are saying that as well. That could be the reason why there's been some contact early with the Ferrari driver. There's been some uncertainties so far. What is for sure is Quinton K is leading the race off of Marcel Pass, Ryan Newton. The top three have not switched any kind of positions. Brendan Bechtel probably got the inside in turn one, and Eric Cavallo, they've swapped positions, and so on and so forth. Most drivers kept their positions. The biggest loser so far is Anand Trivedi, who's lost 3 positions. Cal Blevins and Maxime Beaulieu seem to have been going wheel to
As Cal
wheel.
gets a double overtake.
Almost a
Beamer
triple
gets spun
overtake,
around.
and yeah, Beamer's into the wall. In turn 3, there's a sector flag. Doesn't seem to be a safety car or a virtual safety car so far. Yeah, he got past Brendan Bechtel, and in front of him, Nick Hamrick got all sorts of out of shape, and Anand Trivedi kind of just followed him out there, and Kyle Blevins gained a lot of positions out of there. And from what I'm seeing, well, I'm shocked to not be seeing a missing wing there from Anand Trivedi. That looked like a significant impact. Probably there is damage at some point so far.
Yeah, Nick has a broken wing, so I think we're gonna see him pit. But yeah, I mean Quinton right now has a 1.1 second gap from Eruption. But Eruption's catching him now. Now that he's broke away from Ryan. Ryan trying to keep everyone behind here.
I think
Yeah, this could turn into a 2-horse race.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think winning K, his objective is trying to keep away from Marcel Paps as much as possible. You know, as we mentioned just before the race start, if you're able to get a gap from between P1 and P2, then you might be able to cover off an undercut if you're quick enough. Or right now, Ryan Newton is finding himself vulnerable to the drivers behind him who might want to be trying to undercut him for the position gain.
Yeah, and people will be looking at their telemetry settings to make sure when is the rain going to end, and then it's all going to come down to when is it time to switch on. Is like what's the correct crossover point? They don't want to pit too early here and get on those slick tires when it's still kind of wet on the road. Not only you're going to be slow, it's just dangerous. You could easily break a wing understeering into a wall.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, that's where engineers are going to be crucial here.
absolutely. Well, engineers have to tell Brendan Bechtel to stay on track. He's already got a 3-second time penalty for getting off track. We're only on lap 3. And in regards to what you were saying, Sanjay, look at Nick Hamrick. He's switched his wings. He's also switched his tires. He's on the slick tires in wet conditions. He's going for a major gamble. I'm thinking he might fix himself to slip up and have to change his wing again. Given these kind of circumstances, it's not the wisest of moves, but it's a huge gamble. I'm hoping he proves me wrong, but I'm gonna press extra doubt here.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing in the Delta, he's losing time, but this is a good gauge for Era because they're probably in the same call here. If Nick is not in a good position, this is a gamble that's worth for Era to know when's the exact time to start pitting for those slick tires. But yeah, right now he's losing time, almost a second a lap. It looks like
It's exactly a second a lap interval between the medium tires and a fresh set of inners.
Yeah.
So it's about 8 tenths for the drivers who've been on the inners since the beginning of this race. Marcel Paps was gained about 2 tenths on Quinton K, trying to keep up with him as much as possible, being very cautious on the use of the battery. Ryan Newton, who seemed to have fought off Brendan Bechtel a little bit here, who's got to be careful on the track limit penalties. Right behind him, Eric Cavallo, not using any kind of battery whatsoever, and there begins a significant train of drivers. He's gotten a lot closer to the Aston Martin driver, who got a little bit squirrely there. Is he going to try on the inside dive on Becky? You know, he doesn't. He's going to keep it. Oh, but that's a terrible. He's all sorts of out of shape, Brendan Bechtel, and Eric Cavallo is going to go for the overtake.
Yeah, that's crucial for Era here, getting a good overtake done. Let's see if he's got the pace to maybe pull away from Becky now and catch up with Ryan. But look at the gap between P2 and P3, already 4.5 seconds, 4.4 seconds. Yeah. Eruption's making sure Quinton stays on. As DRS is enabled, as I'm saying that too, has Nick been getting faster? Actually, Arrow just went into the pit, so It's a delta on Arrow. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm keeping my eye on Nick. If he's getting a lot faster and is closing that delta down, we could be reaching that point.
Yeah, well, usually DRS being enabled is usually one of the first symptoms of the track becoming a lot more dry. It's curious because we're clearly seeing it. It's raining still.
It's raining still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
normally the rain stops, and then there's like a moment, and then at that point we have the slick tires get put on and DRS being enabled as Arrow, I think, just hit a wall again. I don't know if he took damage again. Maxim Bollier is a second driver with a time penalty, and now we got a bunch of drivers here. It's
Yeah. Now everyone is trying to pit
Everyone's
onto
gonna
those
go.
medium tires.
Yeah, I think everybody was caught off guard by that DRS being enabled all of a sudden, and now we're looking for the driver. Look at the. And everybody has different tires on. This is gonna be interesting, Sanjay. We got medium
Yeah.
tires, we got soft tires on Duncan, we got hard tires on Bastien as well, and all the while we've got a bunch of drivers behind them on the intermediates, and that's gonna be quite of a mix. Jack Fletcher is just barely gets past Brendan Bechtel here, so now Becky B finds himself behind traffic on intermediate. Is he gonna be quicker than the intermediate
He looked
tires
like it.
already, or if he's gonna be held up? His undercut on Eric Cavallo might not work because of this.
Yeah, I think Era needs to pit now to make sure, because if he's getting held up like this, yeah, Becky's losing a ton of time here. So I think Era, Ryan, Eruption, I think everyone's gonna pit now. Like, look, raining has just stopped,
Yeah.
so it's gonna improve insanely now.
Absolutely. And Nick Hamrick finds himself in P16. He's in front of drivers, and Becky B just got past Jack Fletcher. Jack Fletcher has got no grip out of the tunnel, and he's also going to lose a position to Hudson Poole. I think he's kind of like playing it safe there. He wants to make sure to avoid any kind of collisions, and he's all sorts of under attack by Marc-Henri Bastien now for that 10th position. So expect Jack to be going into the pits. It is the moment. The track dried up so quick. Doesn't seem very wet at all. Obviously, it's it's very late, so we still have a little bit of that mirror effect on track. And here you go. So interestingly enough, I think drivers that might find themselves in trouble, maybe Quinton K and Marcel Paps, depending on how far P3 is to them, they're gonna be catching up, and Brendan Bechtel might find himself in the lead before he even knows it.
Yeah, and Becky B got the undercut on Ryan, even with the traffic. Becky B and Hudson were able to get ahead of Ryan there. And so now Hudson, all of a sudden, sitting in P4. And guess what? Quinton Eruption have not pit yet.
Wow.
And Becky B could, depending on how fast this lap was, maybe get close to pit exit to them right now.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one here. There's 23 seconds between Marcel Pabst and Becky B. I'm surprised they haven't gone in a lap earlier, especially Quinton, who could have maybe covered off the undercut. Marcel Pabst could have gone in and undercut him. And we're going to keep an eye. I think both drivers were quick enough early in the game, in the race, to get ahead out of everybody, and they're going to come up ahead. And I'm seeing Brendan Bechtel's AI taking over, so he's been disconnected. It's Hudson Poole in P3 now.
Yeah, I mean, now we know the race pace like maniac that is Hudson now. We'll see what he can do here at Monaco. He's got 4 seconds to catch up here. He's on the medium tire, which is the same as, I think, sorry, I didn't have my tire details up, but it's the same as Eruption, but Quinton's got on the hard tire, so he could be trying to go to the end here, which would be an insane stint. But if he puts that car in the middle of the road, no one can overtake him, then what's the point, right? He can stay on those tires as long as he wants.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting situation, and I've got a lot of questions because right now we're seeing a lot of different drivers on different race strategies. I was expecting to see a lot more hards going on. I think my prediction was the hard tires, were they going to go 3 laps and more without having any kind of breakage? We don't want to puncture on those hard tires, and that could be the situation that some of these drivers could find themselves in, unless they're on the hard tires to go on the softs near the end of the race. But that's going to be a very calculated risk. By the way, the battle for P1, Marcel Pabst, he's got the fresher medium tires. He is all over the gearbox of
Oh.
Quinton K. Is he going to go on the inside here in turn 3? And he is, and it's going to go wheel to wheel. There's all sorts of contact, and I don't know if it's just because Marcel Paps had some sort of desync there, but in the end, the Ferrari driver has taken the lead of the race.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get a little bit of elbows out here for Marcelli. I don't know about the net code between them, but looks like both drivers came out clean. So it's a good move that was done by Eruption here. But that's that medium tires power of them. They're going to be quick right now, but those medium tires I don't think can go to the end. So he's definitely going to pit. I'm not sure if Quinton has to pit. And Marcel and Ryan are also on the same strategy. Mercedes in total, I guess. I want to say, I feel like Cody has said before the hard tires could make it to the end when I was talking with him. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do there. But Hudson is quickly catching up to Quinton here, which is not going to be ideal if he gets 2 drivers ahead.
Yeah, Marcel Paps took a 3-second time penalty already after the overtake. So already that complicates, does the overtake to get the lead of the race, and immediately complicates his race with a 3-second time penalty. There's multiple drivers out there with time penalties. It's 3 seconds for Paps, Bechtel, and Beaulieu. 6 seconds for Aero, P18, still on the inters. Nearly 20 seconds behind on P17. I don't know what's going on with the Aston Martin driver in that kind of situation. He needs to get off those inters right now, but I don't know if he's
yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there. But you got to feel for Becky. Game crashed. So it's like now he's all the way down in P12, and that's just unfortunate because he was up there fighting for the podium places.
Yeah, Arrow's gonna be blue flag most definitely once he gets out of the pits. He's got a new wing on as well. So I don't know. We'll see how that race goes. But yeah, the disconnection from Brendan Bechtel as he was fighting for top 3 position suddenly finds himself in P12. And he's going to go on the inside on the McLaren, just squeezes him against the wall a little bit. Elbows out, as you mentioned before, Sanjay. We'll maybe see that being reviewed by Nathan Doan. Nathan Doan's going to try to come back across. And that is not going to happen. There was this yellow flag, and I think that was for Arrow moving out of the way. Yeah, it definitely was. And that was very aggressive move from Becky B. He's been aggressive all over this track. He's made multiple overtakes. Obviously, in his kind of situation, he wants to get out of there and get back into the points or the top 10 at least. Yeah, that was an interesting move there on Nathan, and he's already all over the back of Duncan, who's on the soft tires. That's a driver we could keep an eye on. Are those soft tires overheating already? 5 laps in. They might be overheating and not working. Look at Becky B. He's going all over him. Pass him from the outside of the tunnel, and that is P10 already. Yeah, those soft tires are not working whatsoever for Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was wondering. I feel if they're trying to do maybe a soft medium strategy, I feel like right now it's just going to overheat a lot with like following a car. Car's a little bit heavier too with the fuel load. I feel like it's just going to overheat too much right now. And I think, well, Fred actually is doing pretty well with the soft tires. He's putting a lot of pressure on Cam Bourne, which I guess is on the hard tire. So right now there might be the slowest tire. But yeah, it looks like Duncan is having a tough time getting those two to work for him.
Yeah, maybe Duncan had some increased pressure for qualifying that he did not fix for the race. And there's Nathan Doan. He's out of the session. He's completely out. I think he crashed out in turn 4, just as Kyle Blevins was in the pits, by the way. I think he replaced his front wing because he was on medium tires. He's on hards now. Do we have a virtual safety car? So that actually kind of helps Kyle Blevins. It eliminates other drivers behind him from maybe putting him in a blue flag situation. Well, we do not have a full safety car, despite Nathan Doan completely crashing out in turn 4. I think his rear got loose on Massenet, and going into Casino, he completely rammed it into the wall.
Yeah, so I don't think anyone's going to pit here because of the fear that it's going to green flag while they're in it. Unless they got damaged. So I think everyone's going to stay out. Yep, as just goes to green flag. So yeah, definitely no one's going to pit. But if that turned into a full safety car, I would have been really interested. I think all the soft tires would have pitted. Maybe, maybe the medium tires could have too. But yeah, only a virtual. Unlucky for Nathan there. Um, Now it's all up to Cam Bourne to get some good points for the McLaren outfit today.
Yeah, absolutely. They could see the time uh, being reduced between Quinn K and Marcel Paps. As soon as the virtual safety car turned green again, the race was green flagged. Quinn gained almost 4 tenths onto Marcel Paps, but in Sector 2, Marcel seems to be a lot quicker than Quinn K. Obviously, the medium tires are on for that extra grip, and Quinn K seems to be falling behind in those sectors. When Hudson Poole, you're starting to see him coming across slowly and catching up to Quinton K right now as DRS is re-enabled once again. Hudson is within the second to Quinton, so he's definitely had a better pace, and the medium tires currently seem to be working very well. So far, maybe at the exception of Freddy Rizal, as he's definitely got a good race pace so far. The soft tire seems to be not very easy to work on. The medium tires is the balance between grip and tire wear, and probably overheating as well, as you can manage it. And the hard tires, well, you're going for longevity for this race with those kind of tires.
Yeah, I think right now, I want to say the race is still in Quinton's hands. Uh, it just really depends on how much wear there's gonna be. If Marcel and Hudson have to pit, and Quinton has to stay out, yeah, I don't know. Marcel was able to get an overtake on him, and on old hard tires, it's gonna be hard to defend. So, yeah, I'm interested to see. I want to know if they're gonna pit or not. That's my big question:
Yeah.
Is Quinton gonna pit? Is he gonna stay out? I think he's gonna stay out, unless it's a safety car.
Well, if we look at the hard tires currently, his front left is definitely taking the brunt of it, as most drivers are having to manage their front left tire. We're talking about anywhere between 17% and nearly 20 on the fronts. So I think Quinn could make it last until the end, but he might be in puncture territory. As if we look at Marcel Paps currently, well, he's hit the 20% on his tires, and both of the drivers definitely pitted at the same time. So gotta keep an eye on them. And there was definitely a flag in the back, and there's Arrow once again back into the pits, and I think he had damage once more, and so he's been blue flagged for the entirety of the grid so far. Already back out on track he goes. In the back, we're seeing an interesting battle. That's Ryan Newton versus Eric Cavallo once again. And we mentioned it earlier in qualifying, Sanjay. Eric Cavallo versus Marco Bastin. There's 1 point that separates them. Currently, they are P5 and P6. Arrow's all over the rear of Ryan Newton. He's got the better tires currently. He's going to try to make an overtake work as soon as possible, but Ryan Newton is most definitely defending very well on his position.
Yeah, I mean, this is the track where just put it in the middle of the road. Drivers aren't going to be able to really overtake you here, and Ryan's been doing well to overtake him there. A good race an IRL race, I guess, to look back on is that 2018 race with Daniel Ricciardo. You know, he couldn't use all of his gears, but he was still able to win the race by just defending really well. So, yeah, I mean, he needs those hard tires to get into their advantage, which right now mediums have their advantage right now. But yeah, I mean, I think Ryan's doing really well. A fourth, if he's able to get a fourth place result out of this, that's pretty solid, I think, in his books.
Well, he's gonna go here on the inside, maybe on the Val chicane, and he keeps it clean. That could have been a disaster here, but Eric keeps it clean. Make sure he stays out of the way of Ryan Newton. Kind of poked his nose there going into that corner and saved it. Duncan McCadmick currently P15 in the Alpine. He is out of the pits, just came out of the pits for fresh medium tires. His soft tires were definitely not working for him. That might be an advantage for him near the end. Eric Cavallo has got the pace on Ryan Newton. This reminds me of Cody Lawrence, I think last season or 2 seasons ago, having to defend against that same Eric Cavallo for the P1 finish. It was absolutely an insane end of that race, and we might be seeing this all throughout this race. We're already on lap 17 out of 39. The medium tire drivers currently have a much better pace. You could tell by Marcel Paps was broken that 3 second gap he needed to break between him and Quinton. Quinton could be staying out on track for the entirety of the rest of this race with his hard tires, given that they don't explode on him.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm right now. So I have a telemetry thing up to see. Oh wait, I think we're seeing Arrow make a move on Ryan here. Oh, how were they able to get through that chicane?
Wow.
I'm so surprised. I thought that was about to end in a catastrophe, but somehow Ryan keeps his lead there. But I was trying to say, I think their tire wear is worse for Ryan right now on the hard tire. I might be wrong. My telemetry thing could be wrong, but it just looks like Ryan's overheated his tires a ton. Like he's sitting at 107 Fahrenheit, whereas Ara's at like 101, and that might be contributing to more tire wear. But his tires look worse off right now than Ara's.
Yeah, according to my telemetry on the stream, and I'm trying to play between both, it looks like they have the exact same kind of tire wear.
Yeah, like, which is weird because you would expect that the hard should be a lot better right now.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of the same case with Quinton and Eruption. Eruption has a little bit more, but Quinton is not too far away. Hudson actually has really good tire wear right now. Actually, no, never mind. Hudson also has a little bit worse tire wear, but yeah, surprisingly, Arrow's been able to keep those medium tires in like really good shape.
Yeah, the second one, Nick Hammer got a little loose out of turn 1 and may have made contact with the barrier there. It doesn't seem to have any significant damage on his front wing, I believe. And where's Maxime Beaulieu? What's happened to Maxime? He's been overheating.
Oh, Arrow's retired.
Yeah, Arrow's retired, and I believe he's retired into the pits. That was not doing very well for him as a race. He reserved for Division 1, but probably would have been better for him to race in Division 2. Sadly for him, that's going to be the end of his race for now. Although his driver's back out on track, I'm hoping the driver's going to park it. I think Nick Hammer completely got disconnected as well. I don't know what's going on. Cal Evans got past Nick Hamrick. Nick Hamrick was ghosted. Now he's back. I don't know if it's just my netcode, what is going on, but I don't know if it's triggered by the yellow flag just moving across the track like that. But I'm seeing ghosted cars and cars teleporting as well.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan's our host here for this lobby, so now that he's DNF'd, don't know if that has anything to do with it, but hopefully not.
Yeah, we're gonna have to keep eye on that. However, so far the race seems to raceable. Eric Vallo has not had any other more attempts on overtaking Ryan Newton, despite having clearly the tire advantage still 12 laps, well 13 laps now into his medium tire stint. Ryan seems to be struggling a little bit. He's got equal wear to the medium runner, and they are just getting past. Who is that? That's Magnus and Cube, who... Did he have a moment, or is Magnus and Cube... Oh no, they were getting past Maxime Beaulieu. Sorry, that was Maxime Beaulieu with blue flags, just getting out of the pits. I think he had a moment there. Yeah, he had a moment just before Grand Hotel there in turn 5, and I think he had damage on his front wing, so went into the pits. There's a couple drivers being blue flagged there already.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Era has the best tire management in terms of all the medium runners. Medium runners right now kind of close to the 40% wear mark, whereas Era is now at his rears just got to 35, so he's doing really well. He might be just lifting a lot because he's behind Ryan here, and it's actually keeping his tires kind of alive. But he's trying to make sure he can get past Ryan here because there's definitely more pace in that car.
Yeah, definitely. However, he's been making attempts, multiple attempts at trying to make the overtake, albeit being it just outside of the tunnel, just going into the Nouvelle Chicane, trying to outbrake Ryan Newton into Nouvelle Chicane. Marc-Louis Bastien is a driver who's gone in for the mediums. I think he was on the hards earlier, so I don't know if this is a hard to medium strategy, just playing it safe. trying to undercut drivers in front of him. Freddie Brazil has also pitted for fresh medium tires as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. I didn't notice if his front wing had damage and if he had it replaced. He's going to come out in front, just in front of Freddie Brazil. Maybe it was Freddie trying that wouldn't make sense. I don't think Freddie Brazil trying to undercut Marco Bastin, but now all of a sudden he's all over the Mercedes driver in front of him. I think Marco is going to try to probably defend Era in some sort of way. Maybe undercut both Era and his teammate Ryan Newton and force Era back into the pits. I think that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, we'll see. Maxime actually just unlapped himself. Oh, is Magnussen Cube is out.
Yeah, Magnussen Cube was out. I'm gonna get back on board with Bastien. I think we're gonna have a view on it. I think there was a contact just coming outside of Nouvelle Chicane.
Yeah, his car despawned.
Oh yeah, you see that tire mark. His car has been spun. There's a couple drivers there, and he is into the wall, completely retired, in the way as well of the racing line practically. No safety car, no virtual safety car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Eric Cavallo is still out there racing.
As Freddie just bumps Marcel, Mark. But Mark doesn't spin, luckily. Everything's okay, but
wow,
that could have been a bad one right there.
Yeah, Freddie is another one of those high-risk, high-rewards kind of drivers here. There's a couple of them here on the grid, but it's probably the most prominent one. Very fortunate for Magnussen Cube. We haven't really spoken about him, but he's driving a very respectable race, as is Cam Bourne, currently sitting in P6 as well.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Bourne has always been, I want to say, not a complete dark horse, but I mean, last season, I think he came 4th in the championship. No one talks about him a lot. He's always been a solid point scorer, always close to the top 5, if not the top 5. So, yeah, right now he's sitting in P6 right now. He's going to be one of those drivers where he's going to decide, does he want to pit? Does he want to stay out? Because if you pit right now and get on that medium tires, you're definitely the fastest car on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he's an all-around good qualifier and a good driver. And he always goes for the alternative race strategy here. So I'm curious to see where he's going to try to bring his tires currently on the 16-lap-old hards. But he's the kind of driver who seems to just not get himself into trouble very often, just does his race and finds himself regularly in the top 5, top 6, and brings in a lot of points for McLaren, who most definitely need it these days.
Yeah, especially right now since Nathan wasn't able to score any points because he's DNF'd. These are the times where Cam proves his worth by bringing a lot of good points for his team.
Absolutely. I haven't spoken a lot about Marcel Paps so far, but I mean, his tires are very slowly creeping towards the 50%. His rears especially have more wear on them than on the fronts, which is a very interesting thing to be seen on tire wear. You expect the fronts to be have a little bit more wear, and Quentin K is over 5 seconds behind the leader right now. As you mentioned, he's still in that, probably that window of maybe taking care of the hard tires until the end of the race and forcing Marcel Paps to go into the pits. We don't expect those tires to go all the way till the end. You still have 15 laps to go on those medium tires, so we'll see how that goes. But so it's a race that will be drawn out till the very, very end, most definitely. But if it sits as of right now, Marcel Paps definitely will be the winner of this race if it were to end as is Quentin K. Not too far behind, and Hudson Poole hasn't really been able to close the gap between him and Quentin. So I'm thinking Hudson Poole, maybe he's playing it safe. And Eric Cavallo, that's gonna hurt Cavallo.
Another one.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, never mind. That's his first. I think I was thinking of Eruption. Sorry.
Yeah, Beckett B is another one he got just earlier. So that is 2 3-second time penalties for a total of 6. But yeah, Eric Cavallo, that 3-second time penalty is gonna hurt his race a lot.
Yeah, so Eruption right now, it's telling me if he pits, he's going to come around P6. So that'll put him behind Ryan Newton. And then it comes down to, if everyone is staying out, then it's like, oh, he's got to overtake everyone if he decides to do that. So it's like, Yeah, this is the interesting part. The wear between the medium and hard tires is not that different. Honestly, they almost feel like they're the same tire. Just like I think in terms of rear tire wear,
Yeah.
it's a bit better for the hard tire, but it's not as big as I thought it would be at this point in the race. The difference that is.
Yeah, when we're looking at it, somehow Cavallo has got just about, he's got significantly less tire wear than other drivers on the mediums. The rear seems to be lighting up on the medium tires so far.
Yeah.
K has got more wear on his fronts. His rear seems to be, handling it. So they look like they could go until the end, and I'm thinking the mediums right now. There's a gap beginning to form as of now between the medium tires and the hard tires. 13 laps to go, and there's a sector flag. Oh, is that an Antrovetti? Who had a moment? I don't see any damage on his end, but he had a moment there in turn 5, as Max and Bollier also had a moment there as well. And I think a lot of these drivers are just battling probably their car for overheating, trying to manage their brake bias, but probably as well to spread out the tire wear a little bit more towards the front or towards the back, depending on where the wear is. So we're really at a management phase of this race. There's not a lot of hardcore racing being made. Eric Cavallo did get by Ryan Newton finally, and he's probably got the best conditioned medium tires on the grid so far. But we'll have to see. A couple drivers went into the pits. Bastet, Freddie Rosell, Brendan Bechtel was the latest one to go into the pits. Fresh mediums to bring them till the end of the race. We'll see where that brings them.
Yeah, Becky B right now, fastest car on track, catching Freddie. It's behind Mark. This is the problem when you get caught in like this kind of situation where you have to try to overtake people. You're just gonna lose a lot of time. So I'm wondering if Eruption's just gonna stay out on these medium tires. It's only at 12 laps to go now. It's a lot of laps on medium tires.
It definitely is. What is it? Is it at the 70% mark that you're becoming into puncture territory?
Yeah, I think 70 to 75. I think around that part is when puncture territory begins. And I think if they stay out, they'll definitely hit that. 'Cause, I mean,
Yeah.
Eruption right now is at 58 on his rears.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
he's
a
getting
gamble.
close.
It's a gamble. This is what it is. There's turn 4 is
Yeah.
called Casino. Well, every time they go by that corner, they are taking a gamble with their tires, because will it bring them till the very end? And not only that, it's not just a question of bringing them till the end of their puncture, but at some point those tires, they overheat. You got to manage this very technical race, and you want to make sure you don't make an error because your tires are completely worn out. Because let me tell you, at some point, I remember having that experience myself in a race where my tires literally went to 90% and above in tire wear. They just don't work anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
replace those tires with a ton of brakes and it's the same kind of grip. It's
Right.
absolutely ridiculous. So we might see how that affects the race. We're expecting the hard tire runners to be closing the gap on the medium tire runners eventually. But one thing I'm noticing is Eric Cavallo closing the gap to Hudson Poole for P3 slowly. He's at 2.6 seconds. Obviously, he's got that 3-second time penalty, which I think he got on overtaking Ryan Newton. So he might have hurt his race more than anything on that overtake.
Yeah, but he's got I won't say much fresher tires. He's got about 5% better tires. Actually on the rears almost 6%. So that might be helping him here. He was able to keep those tires somewhat safe to help him catch up. But yeah, it's like if Era pits now, it comes out P9, which is right in front of Becky. But then he has to try to overtake all those drivers that did pit in front of him. It's gonna be pretty hard to do that. I think all these drivers you're seeing from in that top 5, I think they're just gonna bite it out. They're just gonna stay out and see what happens. Unless some late safety car happens, they're
Which
gonna
I
go with what
doubt.
they got.
I doubt we're going to see a safety car, because we saw 2 guys DNF in the middle of the track and nothing's happened since then. So
Yeah.
we'll see where that brings them. I'm rather surprised to see Eric Cavallo have nearly a 6% tire difference between him and Marcel Paps, while Marcel Paps has got 1 lap fresher tires. Looks like Cam Bourne had a bit of a moment coming out of turn 1 because up at the hill, Freddie Rizal had the better top speed and overtook him, and now Cam Bourne's trying to cover off Brennan Bechtel, who's got the fresher tires by a long shot too. And Becky B has been very aggressive, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on these guys because Becky's been doing a lot of overtakes. He's been unlucky with a disconnection in this race, but he's most definitely had the top 5 pace, and I think he's going in. He's gonna go outside, inside, or not even. I think Cam Bourne decided to play the safe a bit. Didn't even fight him in the Nouvelle Chicane, and Brendan Bechtel takes P8.
Yeah. So Brendan now all over the back of the Alpina. Fred, oh!
There goes Fred. There's damage on his wing, and he's gonna have to go pit.
Yeah, and I think that one's gonna go. Yeah, that's unlucky for Fred. I think that's gonna be on Becky's. It's gonna be Becky's fault. It just broke a little too late there.
Yeah.
We'll see. That'll go to the stewards, but
Max
it's Max
out.
team.
That is twice that he gets loose. In turn,
and he's
4
on
and
the
5.
exact same spot as
Nathan Doe.
As Nathan, yeah. No safety car.
No safety car at all.
I thought they fixed this.
Clearly they didn't.
Yeah.
Clearly they didn't. Cam Bourne's into the pits. He's got a free pit stop. Clearly with the incident with Freddie Rizal, he's going on for the softs to finish this race. Quentin K just got within the 5-second mark of Marcel Pass. He's looking to get within the 3-second mark. I think for those medium tire runners, as you mentioned, Sanjay, it's too late for them to pit now. Look at Era. He's already within the second on Hudson Pool. He's got a lot of pace going for him at the moment. He's completely ran away from Ryan Newton as well. It just looks like he's got that extra grip, and he definitely does. His tire management has helped him out during the race. And if you have to compare, Marcel Paps is going to hit the 70% territory, and he's definitely losing out to Quentin K. While Eric Cavallo also on the medium tires. Well, he's at 63% on the rears compared to 70 on Marcel Paps. That's a very significant tire difference.
Yeah, Hudson's going to be under a lot of pressure here. See if he can hold it out for another 9 laps. His Era right now just running away with the lead, but the lead is actually kind of closing down a little. It's under 5 seconds, which it wasn't before.
Yeah,
but can Quentin
almost
do it?
A second within this last lap, and that's helping him a lot right now. I think Marcel Pass is going to have some issues with his rear tires now.
Yeah, my telemetry. So what I'm using for telemetry is my dash for the game. And I guess when I can switch on to other players here, the dash will tell me all the information. As Eruption does pit.
Oh, wow.
Why?
He's going to go for softs? No, fresh mediums.
Why?
So
I wonder.
Maybe he doesn't trust his grip, and he's going to prefer he's going to secure P2, I guess, in this situation.
Oh, he's losing out.
He's losing out to Hudson Pool. He's going to lose out.
He might even lose out to Ryan here.
Era. Oh, it's going to be close between him and Ryan. He's got to stay in front of Ryan. Will he be able to do so? He does.
He does, yeah.
And he's got the fresher tires. Wow, well, that was an interesting call. We were not expecting that at all.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to say. My dash is telling me it's blinking the tire that's gonna puncture and telling me to box. Like right now I'm on Quinton and it's telling me the front left is blinking and it's saying box because it's at 72%. So
wow.
it could be that it's in puncture territory and he didn't want to risk it.
Yeah, once you get at 70%, you're definitely in puncture territory, and I think that's the information we're getting here. And so, drivers that are in puncture territory, Quentin K is definitely in that territory. Hudson Pool is definitely, his rears are definitely in puncture territory. The only driver who's not in that territory is Eric Cavallo. Marcel Paps decided to pit to play it safe. He's still in P4 for Ferrari, would be a lot of points. Ryan Newton is not in puncture territory so far, so that might help him out. However, his teammate is all over his rear. He's got much fresher tires. Ryan Newton is not going to be able to cover this off. Are they pulling a switch here?
They might be, I think.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Wow, great teamwork. And this is Ryan Newton who's got the lead for Division 1. And there's a Ferrari driver who's completely across the track. Was that Jack Fletcher? No, that's Marcel
Yes.
Pabst.
Marcel.
It's Marcel Pabst. He's completely lost it. Right in Massenet.
Oh no.
Well, disaster has struck for the team principal and Ferrari. He wanted to play it safe. He had the fresher tires. Clearly, they hadn't gotten up to temp already because he found himself completely across on turn 3 at Massenet, and he finds himself in P7. Suddenly, you have Cam Bourne on fresh softs right behind you, and he's got a time penalty as well.
Yeah,
Wow.
and now Era just hit the 70% mark on his rear tires and telling him to box, which I find really interesting that he hit that later than Quinton. Quinton has much worse front tire wear. I think that's just his driving style. He's super aggressive with the front end of this car. That you can see that with the tire wear. But yeah, Era's done a really good job keeping his tires in a good spot here and putting a lot of pressure on Hudson, who has on 77% on his rear tires.
Yeah, it's going to be a race to watch until the very end, and it's far from being over here. The top 3 drivers are definitely at risk of finding themselves with a punctured tire, and I think the person that's at the highest risk right now is Quinton K. His front left is at 77% of wear, so it can happen at any moment. Ryan Newton just lost a position into the hairpin to Marcel Pabst. That was an unconventional overtake there, but Marcel has definitely got the better grip. Ryan Newton is also struggling on his worn hard tires. Hudson's trying to keep Eric Cavallo away from him as he's becoming more and more aggressive. Most definitely, Era has been pushing all throughout this race. He's got the better tire wear to his advantage as well, despite having a 3-second time penalty caught on an overtake during earlier on the Mercedes driver of Ryan Newton. Marc-Olivier Basset, we have not spoken about him much at all. He's got a lot of pace. He pitted a little earlier than everybody else for those tires. For a pad player currently in P14, he might take advantage of a situation that might happen in front of him between Hudson and Eric Cavallo, depending how aggressive Era is going to be. However, he's got Becky B, who disconnected for a portion of the race. Becky B was fighting for a top 3 position, fell all the way down to P12, and has been pulling overtakes here in Monaco for some reason. He's been doing great work on doing that. And look at this view on a hairpin. We got a pack of drivers here from P2 all the way down to P7, all following each other. That is absolutely insane, and anything could happen between these drivers. While it looks so far as Quinton K is going to be running away with it, his worst enemy is most probably his front left tire.
Yeah, we might have a Hamilton moment at the end here at Silverstone where he's just gonna last lap tire punctures and then it's a chase to get him. But honestly, I think Mark and Becky B still could get a P2, P3 out of this. Look how much faster they are than Hudson and Era. It's gonna be it could get really messy here. Pretty much all the way down to Eruption again. They're all on fresher tires. It's gonna be hard for Eruption to overtake the cars ahead because that tire difference isn't as big as the one that's between Era and Mark. But Era's still looking for an overtake on Hudson here, and if anything goes wrong, they're ready to pick up the scraps. And yeah, Mark is looking for a potential P2 here, which yeah, he pitted. And it was a gamble to cut through the traffic. His Eruption's going for a move.
Wow. Is that going to work? And he's being very aggressive. He's trying on the outside. Looks like there's contact and he's locking up his tires. And he's going to try all over the place. That looks messy as heck. And that was absolutely messy. And Becky B cornered him into Portier. And that is Marcel Pabst. He's significantly out of this portion of this race. Wow, that looked a little bit messy.
Man, that's gonna be a hard ticket. It just looked like Marcel just kind of stuck his nose in there.
Yeah.
But then he's also a little laggy. That's gonna be an annoying ticket to look at, but we'll see what happens with that. But Marcel looks like he actually doesn't have any damage.
Yeah, he looked. From my point of view, he kind of looked like he was
never mind.
I'm
looking at it right now. He's got a yellow wing, so he does have damage.
Oh my God, Sanjay, we're in lap 37 of 39. Quentin K, his front left tire is at 84%. It is absolutely insane. And there's contact in the back. There's contact in the back between Aaron Macri Basset and Hudson Poole. Poole loses significantly 4 positions here. Has he lost?
Someone has a yellow wing. Oh,
is that a flat? It's he's got a flat. Hudson Poole's got a flat. His rear right tire has completely punctured and he's completely lost it.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So now Era has to be in that same situation right now.
And if you're Quentin, you're gotta be sweating bullets. You now know that Hudson Poole has gotten a flat. Your front left tire is just waiting to give up. He's got no grip. You see that on the last corner. He's got absolutely no grip. And in the back, Eric Cavallo now has to defend against Macri Bassin. He's also in punctured territory significantly on all 4 of his tires now. While Macri, he's got fresh tires. He's going to be all over the rear of that Williams. And he's also got to defend from Becca B. And he's going to be very aggressive here. So they're at lap 38. There's 2 laps to go. Where he's looking to get P2. Or he's going to play it safe because Era has that time penalty. He doesn't seem to be trying to move now. We're going to stick on board with Basset. We got to keep an eye out as well on Quentin K. And then it looks like throughout that incident, Basset...
Sorry. There's a puncture user, but Quentin K's on 87%.
Oh, Freddie Rizal has DNF'd.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it is race over for Freddie Rizal, and he's the 3rd driver to lose it at the end of Massenet. And going into Casino, as has Maxime Bonnier, as has Nathan Doan. That is a DNF for those 3 drivers in the same corner.
Yeah, if I'm Quentin right now, he's got 14 seconds. I'd go safety car pace almost. Like let's just massage these tires home. Even if they catch up, they won't be able to overtake. There's only 1 lap left. Just be really gentle on every corner, because you could see Hudson's rear tires were really high. Same with Era now. Era's retires are at 84%. Mark is not able to. Oh, I guess Mark is just gonna sit this one out in terms of Era's got a penalty. But yeah, this is a crazy ending. That's unfortunate for Hudson. If he ends up being the only one with a puncture with all these drivers that stayed out,
I mean, that would be an insane race. Most certainly. We are on our final lap here in Monaco. It is all about tire wear and punctured territory. We've lost a driver to a tire being punctured. Hudson Poole, who's been able to climb back into this race, but he's now sitting P11 while he was fighting for top 3 position. Eric Cavallo has a significant lead. Will he be able to bring it home? We know Macri Basset is battling for P2, but technically speaking, he will have the pace. And does Quentin have... Oh, he does. His front left tire has punctured. Is he going to be able to bring it home? He's got to bring it around turn 19 here, and it's barely going. Look at him go, and he's going to finish this race on a punctured tire. Quentin K is going to win one of the most spectacular Monaco Grand Prix I've ever commentated here in Zoom Racing League. It is the win for the comeback kid, Quentin K, missing 3 races out. He wins it. Marc-Olivier Bastien gains the 2nd position on track on Eric Cavallo, who finds himself P4, P5 now with those time penalties. Look at Camborne. We were talking about this man who stays out of trouble, makes his race work, and he finishes P3. What an absolute victory for McLaren. What a race, Sanjay.
Yeah, and that brings Mercedes P2 and P4, which is going to give them another huge boost to their championship run for the constructors. And I mean, yeah, what a race at the end there. Like we saw, are they going to stay out? And those medium tires just could not do it. But man, literally 4 corners away from finishing the race, Quentin blew a tire. And honestly, it was the best place to do it. It blew it out on a straight. If he was through a corner, it would have been really bad.
Yeah, he definitely had to cut a corner at some point. Probably got a warning at most. But
yeah, I think he cut the swimming pool chicane. So, yeah, wow. What a race.
Wow, that was absolutely wild. We knew Monaco was going to bring us an exciting race towards the end, but as we mentioned earlier, it was management phase but that end of the race was absolutely spectacular. Kudos to Quinton K. After missing out on 3 races, dealing with some things in his personal life, coming back, just trying to get his head back into the racing, and brings home a victory for Haas. I am sure Dougie Hamilton, the Haas TP, is absolutely ecstatic about that result. Nathan Doan also very happy with that result from Cam Bourne, who took advantage of the situations happening in front of him, kept himself out of trouble to get that P3. That is a huge load of points for McLaren. And P2 for Marc-Olivier Basset, who I thought earlier had maybe pitted maybe a bit earlier, but it worked out for him in the end, and he had the pace. He definitely had the advantage on the tires all the way until the end. And it's 3 drivers who tried 3 different strategies and got 3 very good results. Fastest lap as well to Camborne, so that's the bonus point for him. Going down the grid, Ryan Newton, Eric Cavallo, Marcel Paps, who unfortunately got into incidents and finished P6. Brendan Bechtel, who had a 2-time race, great race from him. Duncan McCamick starting P13, finding himself P8. Cal Blevins, P18 to P9. Great races from both of these drivers. Anand Trivedi, Beamer, P10. Hudson Poole, absolutely horrific for him because of the puncture that ruined his race, P11. Nick Hamrick, Jack Fletcher, and then the set of DNF drivers, Freddie Rizal, Maxim Bowler, Magnussen Cube. Both AlphaTauris are out of the race. Arrow, who had a disastrous race, and Nathan Doan all as well DNF'd. Freddie, Maxime, and Nathan, all 3 DNFs happening right in Casino corner in turn 4, and that was horrific ending for them. Stand by, everybody. We're gonna have a little bit of we're gonna have just a moment where we're gonna get the comments of our top 3 finishers. They're probably already waiting for us in the waiting room, or they will be in just a minute. So stand by. We're gonna see how their race went and how they had to get through this very challenging race.
Yeah, I mean, holy crazy race. I'm excited to see what the reactions that we're gonna get from these drivers.
I could tell you, I'm sure Quinton K is sweating bullets. I wouldn't be surprised if he tells us he had a Code Brown moment when that tire punctured. But for sure, very excited about his result. All right, we have Quinton, who's ready in the waiting room. We're gonna try to see if we could find Cam Bourne. Yeah, there he is. All right, well, let's not waste any time.
Looks like Nathan's in there too, so maybe we can bring both.
Well, why not? Because team principal and one had a great race, one had a disastrous race. So let's go for it. Let's bring on to begin with our P3 finisher. Great race from Canborn, as well as the team principal, who did not have so much of a great race, Nathan Doan. Oh my goodness, what kind of crazy race was this, guys?
Yeah, that was a bit wild at the end. I don't know if you caught my battle with Ryan, but it was pretty intense.
No, I think I don't think we caught it because it was super crazy with Quinton with getting a flat tire, and then but still, I always said you were kind of a dark horse in D1. You're always getting like good points finishes, but no one seems to really talk about you a lot. But I think now you put yourself firmly on that podium spot, getting good points for McLaren, especially. Sorry, Nathan, I'm gonna have to diss on you. You didn't get any points this time, but I mean, solid drive. How'd you feel? I mean, you pitted twice. You pitted onto the mediums, and then you pitted onto the softs again. Did you expect to get that third place?
So I went hards actually after the rain, and the plan was
and then
actually
you went to soft.
Yeah, the plan was actually to go to the end, but the guys behind that box caught us so quick that Major made the call to box for softs, and it was definitely the right call.
Yeah, I mean that like fresher tires at the end. You guys were right behind what it was Hudson and Era, and then Hudson had a flat and spun out, and then Era just got overtaken. But yeah, I mean that was a crazy ending. I've never seen that in Monaco.
And quick
Yeah.
calculations, Nick Pichet didn't race this race, so that means Cam Bourne will take sole position of P4 in the championship. So definitely bringing in a lot of points for McLaren. Nathan Doan, how are you feeling about that kind of points being loaded into McLaren for the championship?
Well, I mean, we were just waiting for the podium to come for Camborne, of course. It's been P4 a bunch of times, and now, podium not only brings up the confidence, but brings up the team in points as well. So when I can't be there to score points, very happy to have a man like Camborne behind the wheel.
And real quick, Nathan, don't walk us through your incident. Was there contact with another driver, or just you lost it in casino?
I was distracted looking at Duncan's rear end, and I clipped the wall in casino.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't the only one. I think 2 other drivers got caught
Yeah.
out there. It was an AlphaTauri, and then I think Fred got.
Federico, Max, and Bollier both DNF the exact same way as you did, Nathan.
Yeah, so it was a tough corner, it looks like. But
Absolutely. What are your predictions, Cam Bourne and Nathan? Cam Bourne, you're hauling in a lot of points for McLaren. Nathan, you're kind of working really hard on McLaren as a team in general. We're just past the halfway point of the season. 4 more races to go. What are expectations for the rest of the season, guys?
Yeah, so actually on the time off, I didn't really practice Monaco too much. I was kind of focusing more on China and like a little bit on the later races. So I feel pretty confident for China, I think.
How about
you got a race that you're hoping for in the random GP next week?
I don't know, actually. I haven't even thought about that. We'll see.
How about you, Nathan?
Well, given that I score some points and Cam continues his amazing form, I would be happy to challenge Williams for 4th place in D1. So that's what our goal is, expectations. I can only imagine that we can achieve that. So there you go.
It's definitely doable. Well, congratulations. Thank you for your time, boys. Congratulations on P3, Cam.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, boys.
Fun that race.
I dragged you out, Ranger.
All right, perfect. All right, so let's bring in P2 finisher Marc-Olivier Bastien back in the booth again. Completely different race from Cam Bourne, who was basically just waiting for the podium to come to him. This time, Marco, you were much more aggressive. You had the fresher tires, you had the pace at the end, you were able to get those positions. You had a battle with Era as well. Although he had the 3-second time penalty, you didn't want to risk him being able to delete his penalty. Walk us through this crazy race, and why did you pit so early?
After the rain, I went to the hard, but the wear was too much, so I had to go to the medium because I would get a puncture before the end of the race. So I went on the medium after Freddy, who was like two positions behind me, went on the medium. So I went in to cover him. And after that, it was much better. The medium was a much fun tire to be on versus the hard. So after that, I was able to, I think I gained the pit stop in like 15 lap or something. So definitely happy to go to the medium. At the end, when we catch Hudson and Ara, it was a bit spicy, I would say.
Yeah.
When Hudson, I think he got a puncture, so I don't know, I'm not dead there, but Eric on a break, so I break and Becky break. Yeah, it was sketchy a bit. But after that, he had damage. So I was able to overtake him after the tunnel, I think. He was very, very slow. So I just did a really cool switchback. That was pretty fun. And P2, yeah, in Monaco, pad player on Monaco, it's not great, but getting P2 is awesome.
Yeah, I remember last time we raced in Portugal, you and Ryan were saying it was going to be a tough race because Monaco is just not meant for pad, but ended up getting P2 and P4. Honestly, probably maximized the weekend you could have hoped for and pull away. You already almost have a 100-point lead from P2 in the constructors, and I think definitely now it's over 100. Yeah, I mean, this has been a very solid season so far, especially at a weaker track. You're still able to get a really good result. Next week is random GP. I know you guys hate certain tracks. I forgot which ones it were, but yeah, what track are you hoping for next week?
I don't know. Is it? No idea.
I-
I'll say like something like Red Bull Ring. Red Bull Ring will be
Ring.
fun. Yeah.
Oh, be interesting race in Austria. Marco, talk to us about the switch you did with Ryan Newton. Seems to be. Was that teamwork? Was that team orders? Who made the call on Ryan Newton, who had the lead, and clearly you had the better tires, so you took the lead on him, and you put Ryan as a defensive mode on the Becky B, and allowing you to battle Era, and obviously now you take P2 in the standings. Who made that call for the switch between you two?
It was Ryan and Cody actually. Of course I was faster on those tires, and at that time I was trying to catch Era. Cody kind of asked Ryan about it, and Ryan agreed. So we just swapped on the pit straight, and it's pretty cool.
Absolutely excellent move because that allowed you to beat Eric Cavallo, catch up to him, and beat him on track, despite the fact that he had a penalty or not. You gained that P2 position fair and square. Congratulations again on another podium finish this season, and we will see you next week.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, well, Quentin K is sharing his screen there, probably showing Freddy Rizal his puncture. Well, let's bring him to our broadcast booth. It is Quentin K, a return after 3 races out. You get a puncture on the very last lap of this race, and you go for the win. Quentin, walk us through that crazy race you just had.
Can I swear?
Try not to.
Try not to.
Oh, not to? Okay. I was gonna say, like, what the flip, dude? What was that race? That was unbelievable. I think it was like the last 4 or 5 laps. I noticed that my front left was just cooking. Like it was at like 109 like degrees, and I just tried to chill it out in the last few laps, and then I got that puncture and I almost lost it, but we held on to it.
Yeah, I mean Hudson was kind of in the same situation as you, but he was on the medium tires, and I think you managed your rear tires really well compared to the other drivers, it seemed.
Yeah.
Because Hudson was sitting on like 80% rear tires, and his fronts were better actually than his rear tires. And in the end, his I think right rear tire like blew out at a pretty bad corner. He got spun around by it, which ended up like costing him a podium. But I was wondering because
Yeah.
I think you had a worse left front, and so I was like,
Yeah,
really dicey.
Yeah, my tires were like, my front left was at like 90 and my right rear was at like 60. It kind of made like no sense. It was really,
Right.
really weird. But yeah, crazy race. Me and Marcel went side by side through sector 1. That was really clean. That was I don't know if he was lagging a bit because I saw the X on his name a few times, but
Oh, he was lagging for us. We caught that on stream, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I was wondering, I was like, it looked like he was lagging, but it looked both of you came out of it kind of clean, no damage, so
Mhm. Yeah, he was lagging a little bit, but it was fine in the end. He had really, really good pace. He should have won the race, but unlucky with the strategy, I guess.
yeah, I
But,
think he was just afraid of his punctures maybe being
Yeah,
like coming into play, and then I think he got spun around or made a mistake going up the hill, so that cost him maybe a podium again because he was fighting his way back through.
hmm And Ranger, I don't know if you guys remember, but Monaco last time I was leading the
Yeah.
race and I punctured
Yeah.
when leading the race. So I was just, there's no way that is happening again. I would have lost my mind. I probably would have punched my hand right through my monitor. But, yeah, for those who thought I left, I never left.
Yeah, only the real ones know exactly where that quote comes from. Well, Quentin K, congratulations on your win. We're hoping to see you again in the podium, in the booth with us on the broadcast channel next week at a random Grand Prix. So we'll see which track we get a couple hours before the GP. Congratulations on your win again.
Thanks. Thank you, Ranger. Thank you, Sweeney. See you
Yep.
guys.
Later.
See ya. Enjoy your win.
Oh wow! Well, we knew it was gonna be a typical Monaco race, but it was not a typical Monaco race. We had wet weather, we had crazy tire strategies, and well, punctures. 2 punctures this race, which is not something we see every day in this game. Man, Sanjay, I'm curious to see what next week reserves for us. If it's going to be that kind of a crazy second end part of the season. But let's face it. We absolutely started off 2024 in ZRL with an absolute banger. Tomorrow we're going to have Monaco in our Division 2. You're going to be in that race. I'm going to be there as well. I'm just hoping it stays dry, man.
Yeah, I think just rain just overcomplicates it a little too much. So yeah, I'm hoping it's dry too. But it should be a fun race. Monaco's always been a cool track. But I thought safety cars would be fixed here, but it looks like safety cars aren't really going to appear. So I think we can scratch that out. Too worried about.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, with that being said, ladies and gents, thanks for watching. If you've not done so yet, don't forget to like and subscribe to Zoom Racing League. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, Division 2 will be on in Monaco as well. And we'll stay tuned on the YouTube channel. We'll have another great race. With that being said, I bid you farewell. It was John Ranger and Sanjay Spanini signing out. Good night, everybody.
Good night.